handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
What do all men in power want? More power. More power.
And now, broadcasting live from deep within the borders of occupied liberal territory known as California, Luca Zanna with Love, Guns, and Freedom.
All systems go.
Don't tread on us, we're not afraid. You work for us, we're not your slaves. Don't tread on us, you crossed the line. Soon you will pay for all your crimes. After a long train of abusive and dissipation, now we've lost our...
Hello everybody, this is Luca Zanna, Love, Guns and Freedom on K-Talks 1340 AM. Okay, we have today a very special guest all the way from Tucson, Arizona. And let me just give you my little introduction before we will go with the guest. As you know already, I'm Italian by birth, an American by choice, but more important, I am an Arizonan by gift of God. My goal here is not to entertain, as you already know, but I would like to engage each other in the search for the truth, with the goal of regaining our lost liberties and taking America back, starting with our local state government. When I became an American, I took an oath to defend this republic and its constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that's why I'm here. Yes, I'm a registered Republican, but honestly, I don't really care, because I did pledge allegiance not to a party or to a man, but to America, as in its ideal liberty and justice. I believe in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I also believe that all human beings are unique and different. We are not all the same, please. But at the same time, we have the same inalienable rights, and we all should be treated with equal respect. I believe that the role of government is not to be my God. I believe in God, but that's my personal belief. What I believe government does not own my body or my soul. It is not about left or right. It is not about Republicans or Democrats. It's about right or wrong, liberty or tyranny, truth or deception. I am against all forms of collectivism. I remind you, I come from a very collectivist country, Italy. Unfortunately, it's been taken over by the European socialist mafia. That's pretty much you call also global government, the same thing they're trying to implement here. And I believe in the potential of the individual. Yes, one person can make a difference. And today we will see, we have a very interesting man. He's a statesman, and he will tell us his story. He's running, by the way, for Arizona state governor. So it's very important. I hope you can listen, and so you have enough information according to his voting records, because I really like to do a very accurate research. I'm not here to be right. I'm trying to be fair, just bring in the facts. And I try to keep away my personal feelings, because I like just to tell you what the facts are, and then you can make your own decision. So I want to thank you again for listening. Love, Guns, and Freedom. Right now, let's start to introduce our special guest is Senator Al Melvin. It's a Republican from District 1.
11,
I'm sorry. You see, that's the first mistake. Perfect. Hi, Senator. How are you, by the way?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I know you drive all the way from Tucson, right?
On the north side, actually, I live in Pinal County.
Okay.
I'm just inside of Pinal County. I'm actually the only candidate for governor who actually now lives in a rural county.
Interesting, very interesting. So, and just a couple of information about you. You've been a state senator. You are still a state senator.
I've been for 5 years, and I'm starting my 6th year. I'll be in the Senate for the rest of this year.
Perfect. And let's go straight about you. I mean, first of all, I would like to ask you something. Why did you come up with? I mean, you're a nice man. You have family. I see there is your lady here.
Yeah.
Do you have kids and grandkids also?
No, my wife is here.
Okay.
She's Japanese American.
Okay.
Came from Japan. She's lived here now for 25 years.
Okay.
We don't have any children, but we have 2 basset hounds.
Okay.
High maintenance, but great dogs.
So anyway, you could enjoy your retirement now, and you pretty much now putting yourself in a very hard challenge, a very hard journey. You would like to become also as governor. Why? Why did you come up with this idea?
Well, it's a great question, and as I go around Arizona, I always start by answering that question first, and I sum it up in one word, repeated twice.
Please go ahead.
Obama.
Okay.
How I, like many, are wondering how did it ever happen that the greatest nation on earth elected this man not only once but twice, an unseasoned, untested community organizer from Chicago. And I am bound and determined to help Arizona become a safe haven from the chaos coming out of Washington, and the guy's going to be there another 3 years. I truly do believe that we can make Arizona a safe place for our people to live, work, and enjoy the fruits of happiness.
Excellent. And by the way, I'm always the first one to be very vocal about Mr. Obama, that I also refuse to call him president, and this is my personal, I don't want to associate you with my belief. Till he doesn't show his real true birth certificate, I will refuse to call him Mr. President. But regardless that, I would like also to always be fair, because one person, I don't care how evil or powerful can be, cannot be possible that that person can just become a president out of the blue. I mean, after all, he was a nobody, this guy, okay? Must be something behind or somebody behind that is much more powerful than just this individual. And unfortunately, according to my little studies and research, sometimes, they needed to, I don't want to focus on the past because we have a very bad present right now. But whatever we had before, unfortunately, created a lot of discontent. It wasn't exactly making happy people that believe in freedom, people that believe in constitutional republic. A lot of let's say, very disappointed, let's say even Republicans or conservative, they pretty much became apathic because of the last 8 years before Obama. Bush was a big part of creating Obama, in my opinion.
Well, as I tell people, and securing the border is a major objective of mine, and I believe that both parties are equally guilty. Especially with Bush Jr. I lost my first election in 2006 for the Arizona Senate because Republicans were disgruntled and upset.
Exactly.
And the reason both parties are guilty for the border continuing to leak like a sieve, despite what McCain and Flake say, the border is not secure. It's leaking like a sieve. But Democrats want it to continue that way because every illegal coming north, they look at them as another registered Democrat. And the Republicans look at it, the chambers of commerce, and some other, that as cheap labor. But the problem is we're a border state, and it's costing Arizona almost $2 billion a year because 15% of the people in our jails, hospitals, and schools are illegals, and it's costing us $2 billion a year.
And, I had a beautiful little presentation that now I would like to say I prepared before. You're also a fellow Minuteman.
Yes.
And I'm proud of you. Thank you. I would like to shake your hand. Thank you very much.
I was proud to be one.
Because even before I became a citizen in 2005, I was well aware of the problem of illegal immigration. I was living in California before I escaped from there and I came here. Right. And I realized that this country is under very dangerous attack. And it's not just about the $2 billion that, of course, it's a big cost, don't get me wrong, and the crime high and all these things that we know, the school, diseases that can bring without me. I came here, first of all, as a former legal immigrant, and I feel very betrayed when the government has two classes of citizens or two classes of human beings. One, the people that must follow the rules, like myself. I come here through an embassy, a visa, and all these different things. Took me 7 years to go through my process. And then you have the special ones, the chosen ones, as I call them, that all they need is a pair of shoes, jumps, and then they start to collect all benefits that not even American citizens sometimes they're allowed to.
Yes.
And more important now, they're trying to give them a reward called amnesty.
Yes.
So when I realized that, more important, I started to understand that if this is really truly supposed to be a republic, where the rights of the individual supposed to always be protected, and they've been trying to brainwash us, correct me if I'm wrong, many presidents, even former Bush Jr., and so Clinton, and also Bush father.
Yeah.
They have the technical, scary word that I really freak out every time I hear it. It's called, we are a democracy. Don't you think it's scary when they use the word democracy? Don't you see that the concept of democracy was completely never contemplated by our founding fathers? Because when you have a mob, 51% of the people, especially when they are uneducated, and they have the power to vote themselves, rights, privileges, and more important, to steal from others, that's the way I look now at these 30 million potential illegal aliens becoming a citizen the next few years. They will completely destroy the fiber or what's left of this republic. Do you agree with me?
Well, yes, California is a glaring example. It's gone. It's over.
Yes.
Because they let it get away from them, and we can't let it happen here in Arizona. I recently went to Sacramento, and it's a disaster, the whole state. But Oregon and Washington are following. High taxes, bloated government, out-of-control regulations. But we have a lot of good conservative states and governors in the United States, Texas, Oklahoma, and others. We need to band together with them and to stay strong and to protect the country.
When I heard about Arizona, the first time I was still living in Apple Valley, a beautiful place on the golf course. I was next door to Mr. Roy Rogers' house, nice environment. I say, I'm not happy here. And then I didn't understand exactly what means. I mean, I didn't still find a place really that would fulfill me as a free human being, or semi-free, because it's still limited freedom. And I had the chance in 2005, was the 1st of April, to drive when I heard about this Minutemen event on the borders. And I went there. There were like another couple hundred American people. I was about 25 days away from my citizenship then, okay? I was still becoming a citizen. So I was really afraid because my lawyer told me, don't do that. If you get arrested for anything, you're going to lose it all. It's like, I'm sorry, I have to go. So I rented a little car, and I drove all the way. And meanwhile, we had the dread threats from MS-13 that told us that we're going to kill you all. Bush said we have a bunch of vigilantes. Then we have President Fox from Mexico said we have a bunch of criminals. And ACLU, I sue you, all this stuff. So regardless, I was there. In that room in the morning, it was like 9 o'clock in the morning. It was, I think, a Masonic temple in Tombstone. I saw a couple of state legislators. Was one former Senator Russell Pierce.
Yep, a hero.
Yes, and I say, you know what? I can't believe it. These are the politicians they have in Arizona. I really like this state.
Yeah.
And I came back home. I say, you know what? We gotta sell everything and get out of here. And that's what happened a few months later. So it was destiny. So anyway, I really appreciate it for your stand on legal immigration. And for me, the point, now even they're trying to make legal things with paperwork. If I had the chance to be involved in the process to decide how you become a citizen, it's not just about paperwork. Because I can now give you a little rubber stamp from the U.S. government that you become, like magic, American citizen. I think it should be a little deeper test about where your heart is, your knowledge of this country, the foundation of this country. And that's what I really am afraid, because now they're going to make legal almost everybody. You will see. If we don't do something, I'm very concerned about that.
We have to stay strong. In fact, in California, it just came out in the news. They're allowing at least one illegal alien to practice law. Unreal. It's madness, and we have to stay strong. We really do.
Listen, I have. Let's start with the thing that I did had the chance to spend a couple hours on the internet going through your voting records, and then I invite everybody else listening to verify it. We don't have 4-hour show, so I just try to give out some keywords so people can understand, and then they could. I think, really, honestly, you are very strong, super strong when it comes down to Second Amendment. I have seen a lot of good legislation that you try to support. Some went through. Unfortunately, some others, even the Senate was supportive of the same legislation, but Governor Brewer, as usual, vetoed it. And that's okay. It doesn't matter. But at least it shows your heart where it stands, on the topics. And I think you're very good. I think you have also a very incredible record when it comes down as hero of the taxpayer, because this is American for Prosperity. I think you were rated like 90. Right? And that's important because I think Governor Brewer was about 8% or something like that. So it shows that they're really consistent. And they do a lot of great jobs. So I really believe that you are really strong when it comes down to also be conservative in the process of saving us our tax dollar. And that's great. Also, I think you have a great strong position when it comes down to champion. I call you champion of the right of the unborn.
Yes.
I'm taking a lot of criticism a lot on the internet when it comes down to people that believe in freedom. And I agree with them on many topics. But then when it comes down to the freedom to live, for a person that cannot defend himself, because I consider whatever is inside here, not because he cannot speak, he still has feelings and also have mostly he can feel pain.
Yeah.
But, you know, as I say, we don't need to agree on everything. I also, with people that are listening to the show, they may believe that they have the right to choose. I call it the right to kill an unborn child. I spell it out. But you're very strong about protecting the rights of the unborn, and I appreciate you for that. The only thing also I would like to remind to people that support abortion, I want to spell it out the way it is not the right to choose. Let's call it, you kill somebody that cannot defend itself, the way I call it. I wish they could do that with their money, not with my tax dollar. Because that's something really upsets me.
Yeah.
Because if you want to really be so free to kill an innocent, okay, don't do it with my money. Like right now, for example, with Obamacare, they are forcing us in the bill that we're going to pay with the new health care bill from our private insurance, they're charging us also for abortion. You know that? Are you aware?
Yes, I am aware of it.
So I wanted to thank you also for the stand that you took against Governor Brewer. Tell us a little bit when it comes down to this Medicaid expansion,
Yeah.
Any interesting story you have to tell us?
Yeah, a couple of things. One, I wanted to mention that Wednesday, this coming Wednesday at 5 o'clock in Kingman, we're having a Republican candidate forum for governor at the Golden Corral at 5 o'clock. Anyone, I would encourage them to come. But there's so many topics you've gone over, Luca, but let's go with the Medicaid expansion. To me, it can be summed up in one word, greed. The greed of pumping $1.6 billion worth of federal money into Arizona each year for 3 years. That brings out a lot of greed in people, the hospitals, the medical insurance companies, and frankly, the Republicans who broke rank with us and joined the Democrats to vote for this, in my view, their votes were purchased by this money. And I want the listeners to remember one very important thing. 50 cents on the federal dollar is borrowed.
Yes.
Either from the Chinese or from generational theft from Americans that haven't been born yet.
Yes.
This is the biggest threat to the economic well-being of Arizona, this Medicaid expansion. So we're suing her, Governor Brewer.
I'm glad.
Led by the Goldwater Institute and signed on by 36 Republican senators and representatives. We are suing her based on Proposition 108, which says that any tax increase requires a 2/3 vote. She did this in the middle of the night on a simple majority. We believe we have the legal grounds on our side, but so we believe we'll win it and we'll defeat the Medicaid expansion. But let me make one plug about the Second Amendment. Second Amendment. You know, it's our right as Americans. Our forefathers gave us the Second Amendment, and one thing I would encourage every able-bodied man and woman in Arizona to think about. I would like to encourage them to think about take a course for a concealed weapons permit. It's not required to have a weapon, but it gives them the basics of owning and having one. and to exercise their Second Amendment rights, because I truly do believe the more of us that do it, the better off we will be. This is one amendment that we can't lose. If we lose this one, it's over. And an armed society is a safe society. So
You're right, and also polite society. You're very
Yes.
right. And I will go through. I have a
Okay.
couple good questions
Okay.
about the Second Amendment. Let's go back to the devil, Governor Brewer. Okay.
Yeah.
As you see, I like to be very polite, but when I have people that they, let's say for example, you were a Democrat, okay, or have different. I respect you if you were honest. Say, listen, I believe in that. Okay, I don't vote for you. We move on. When there is somebody trying to going out and spending millions of dollars in advertisements like she did during this and call herself a conservative and calling for herself some sort of a defender of the Constitution, all these things, made me puke. Because I lose the respect. And at that point, for example, with Mr. Obama, I lose the respect. And I wish there was consistency. Say, this is what I am, and doing double talk. So let's talk about Governor Brewer for a second, okay?
Okay.
I don't care if she's Republican or she's from Mars. For me, she's just something else.
Yeah.
And I have 5 words that I will define her, but I'll tell you after you give me 5 words. And the question is, how would you define in 5 words FCC compliance? We cannot cuss here, please. I know you wouldn't anyway, but we need to go 5 words to define Governor Brewer.
Well, I can use some words that I think don't define her,
Okay.
but define me.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Leadership,
Okay.
vision, and integrity,
Okay.
for starters.
Okay.
And also, I would say education and experience.
Okay.
I would use those 5 words to describe me,
Yes.
of why I should be governor.
Yes.
And I believe they don't describe her.
Perfect. And just want to be sure now, the 5 words I'm going to say right now, they belongs to Mr. Luca Zanna. They are not connected anyway to Senator Al Melvin, okay? Okay, my definition for Governor Brewer is, first of all, phony. Number 2, backstabber. Number 3, opportunist. Number 4, bought out. Number 5, witch. I don't like to go personal, but it's true. She looks like a witch, and she acts like a witch. So that's pretty much my point, And it's sad because we had a very good, strong Senate. We have very good, strong legislation in Phoenix. Finally, we were able to achieve somebody in the governor office that's supposed to represent us and consolidate our beliefs. Instead, backstab in the back. And I will show you when, because I did a little research. You did so many great different voting records. For example, one that I think should belong to any free American as a concept. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. When it comes down to federal intrusion on our Bill of Rights, like, for example, the National Defense Authorization Act, that my listeners have been very much well educated and they already know about it. Just to sum it up, now pretty much destroys the due process that brings us back before the pre-Magna Carta. The government can use force to incarcerate, detain, without any type of habeas corpus, without any type of proof, just on suspicious to be a terrorist, can drag your butt in jail and drop you there without any type of access to judge, lawyers, or jurors forever. Using the military, that should scare everybody. I want to give you credit that you, in April the 24th, 2012, you voted for the SB 1182 that prohibits enforcement of certain provisions of the National Defense Authorization Act. Great. Senate passed 20-8, and of course, vetoed it by Governor Brewer. I mean, that's scary. And it's just one of the many other things, because I think you have a lot of good things also when it comes down to that type of thing. So that's, for example, the another thing I was very fascinated about. I like the bill that you were trying to sponsor. No, you didn't. I don't know if you sponsored, but you voted for, was HB 2177. 2177 that says requiring proof of citizenship for presidential candidates. I mean, tell me about that. I think it's pretty smart. It's pretty logic. She vetoed it.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't my bill. It was a House bill. But,
Yes.
But, to become a soldier or a Marine, anyone in our armed forces, or to become a policeman, and we have to show proof of citizenship. who are we? What are we doing? And I think anyone running for elective office should show proof of citizenship.
Yes.
At any level. But one thing, at the risk of being a little contrarian, but
Yes.
but in the because we mentioned the sanctity of life,
Yes.
from conception to natural death. It's critical to me, not only as a Republican but as a Roman Catholic.
Okay.
And the traditional marriage and traditional families. Not many people may know this, but I have to give credit to Governor Brewer on one thing.
Okay.
When she became governor in 2009, which is the year I was sworn in as a senator, she immediately signed into law approximately 25 pro-life and traditional family, traditional marriage bills that her predecessor vetoed year after year after year. So I'll give her. I'll give her.
Facts are facts, and I agree with
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Something not everybody is completely bad. The problem that sometimes I'm trying to look also at the timing. She had, for example, the constitutional carry that we know that in the state of Arizona we are very happy, at least for gun owners, people believe in freedom, to have. That means we don't need to have any type of CCW to carry, conceal a gun. She signed it, and that just was before election time.
Yeah.
And then when after the election, there were some other very good bill that I think she should have been in line with, like, for example, constitution carry on campuses.
Yeah.
Instead, she vetoed it.
We should have that.
You know?
Well, and
So-
another word to describe her, in all frankness,
Yes.
is she is politically lucky.
Yes.
We gave her a present by means of SB 1070. Russell Pierce was the father of that bill.
Yes, I remember
And
that.
she signed it at the 11th hour of the last day. She could not make up her mind what to do, and she got lucky and signed it into law. If she had not, she wouldn't be governor right now. But she signed it, and people liked it, so she's governor
Okay.
right now.
Let's talk about something a little more controversial, okay? Something,
Sure.
because, I'm very honest, I like your many aspects, and I don't even know about the other aspect, but I like to ask questions that normally people say, wait a second, give us some potatoes and meat and potatoes, okay? You're a Catholic. I was born and raised Catholic too. I was born in Rome.
Yeah.
Then in my own personal belief, I start to think that maybe I want to go straight to Jesus Christ. That's my belief. I don't want another man. But, just me. It's about you, okay? I respect you. I consider myself as culturally still Catholic myself, even.
Yeah.
My point is this one. Pope Francis is the new Pope. You heard about him. I did a little bit of research about him. And according to the Washington Post, probably you already heard about it, Pope Francis, a few weeks ago, he showed a willingness to use tough language in attacking what he views as the excesses of capitalism. I consider himself like some sort of, it's called, for the technical name, it's during the 70s, there was this movement. Anyway, it was some sort of a Marxist movement infiltrated the Catholic Church. Was from South America, Liberation, Salvation, or something like that. Anyway, but I would like to base what is said, and people can read the statement. It's kind of a little long, but anyway, he condemns capitalism and free market, and he also said that pretty much so far it's been a failure, according to him. There are still many poor people, and is his opinion. I'm not discussing it. I believe that popes should stick with the spiritual things and shouldn't put his business in economics. But what is your rebuke to Pope Francis about this position?
Well, I was born a Catholic. I remain a Catholic. My wife is a convert to Catholicism. And I will remain a Catholic for the rest of my life, despite what the church may do to run me away from the church. One, I don't think the church has done enough to stop abortion in the United States. And what bothers me more about this Pope and some of the things he said, that, let's tone it down with respect to defense of life. Let's tone it down in terms of traditional marriage. We want to be more inclusive. We want to bring more into the church. But if I'm not mistaken, he is a Jesuit. And as much as one would respect the Jesuits, many are rather leftist, have a reputation of being so, and have participated in Marxist-type movements in Central and South America. So I think the jury is still out on this pope. But one thing that's interesting is Time magazine declared him to be Man of the Year for 2013, and the left loves him. They're rallying around him because of these remarks against free enterprise, and also about toning it down with respect to defending life and traditional marriage.
I believe everybody that gets the cover on Time magazine means you need to stay away from it because it's a complete control media. Are you aware of the New World Order, global government? Are you aware that, for example, Mr. Bush father, he said that magic word, New World Order, more than, I think, 150 times. I mean, look at now with the different type of aspect. Even Mr. Obama, he said, New World Order, more insane is they're doing it. I mean, the creation of this North America Union to create this global government, you see that it's all connected to some sort of bigger plan that we are facing also in our state, because you are very aware, I see you had a bill that you pretty much oppose the interference in our sovereignty from the United Nations.
Yeah.
And what do you know, for example, about Agenda 21? You ever heard about this word?
Well, I understand it's an effort coming out of the UN to restrict private property ownership, and and examples of it are the introduction of the wolf into the wilderness areas of the West and that type of thing. But which brings me to a key part of my campaign, which I hope you came across in your research, the conversion of federal lands to state lands in the West.
Yes.
I would urge the listeners to go to the website AmericanLandsCouncil.org, where we want to go after the U.S. Forest Service and BLM lands because they are totally mismanaging our forests. I think this would go a long way in rolling back Agenda 21 in the West.
Perfect. And by the way, I have the bill here that you voted for it, and the Senate passed it 21-9. I do my homework. It was the bill SB 1507, prohibits implementation of the United Nations Rio Declaration, okay?
Right.
So pretty much is what you were saying, the principle for sustainable development. That sounds like very nice words. Unfortunately, it's the destruction of private property, it's the destruction of freedom, because with property comes freedom. And what they're trying to do, to sum it up for our listeners, that maybe they just heard this word, Agenda 21. Agenda 21 is the complete micromanagement and micromanagement of all our natural resources. And so far, this didn't start today with Obama. It started way before Clinton with Bush father in Rio de Janeiro. And then, of course, it started to sneak in like a little vampire in our state, local and federal government through different agencies, completely unconstitutional agencies like the EPA, for example. And their goal, it is not to save the planet. They don't care about the environment. It's not about that. It's about to pretty much control the population. Every time we can have access to resources, mining, water access, property rights, and at the end of the day, they would like to combine us in big, huge towns, living like cattle.
I know.
And you live from rural America. You understand what type of danger we have.
Yes.
And that's why I'm glad that you are aware, because this is a fight that we need to start in our counties, in our cities, and in our, of course, state. So I wish you success to be governor just because of that.
One thing that I'd like to say, one of my opponents, I'm not going to mention his name.
I can do it if you want to.
No, said that he has a track record of working across the aisle. He can work with the other party to get things done. And in my estimation, and what I want to tell the listeners, when I'm elected governor, I will do everything I can to strengthen the ranks of the Republican Party, both as registered voters and elected officials, because it's those elected legislators in the Senate and the House that pass the good legislation. The Republicans, the Democrats are on the wrong side of it time and again. But another thing that I would urge the listeners to think about, who gave us Obama and who gave us Obamacare? It was the Democratic Party. And any individual running as a Democrat for elective office this year must be held responsible, one, for Obama in the first place, and two, for Obamacare. They must be held responsible to defend that and the pain and suffering that's been inflicted upon our country as a result of it.
And I would like to add, as a Republican, there are many traders Republicans. They did that because
Yeah.
I'm not even focusing on the Democrats because I already know what they're for.
Yeah.
They do their play. We know we go in battle. The other side. Instead, for me, somebody like McCain,
Yeah.
somebody like there are a lot of people out there. I'm focusing now on our state. People like that. I'm sorry, it's our duty to speak up. And
Yep.
honestly, I like to point them out even more than the Democrats. The Democrats, we already know what it's about. We are people that they completely stab us in the back, like Governor Brewer.
Yes.
So we should, as a Republican, I said at the beginning, I don't pledge allegiance to my party. I pledge allegiance to America, and I'm very critic with people that they stab us in the back because we are here because of this type of situation.
A couple of things in all honesty.
Yes.
I look at primary elections, and we have one coming up in August 26th. It's like, in my view, running dirty clothes through a washer to the. We clean every election. We have the ability to clean the party, so to speak.
Yes.
To get rid of those Republicans that vote the wrong way. They should be held responsible. Frankly, I was at that county meeting that you were at on Saturday.
Yes.
I have no problem not only of censuring McCain, but I would expect to be censured myself if I voted the wrong way
of course.
broke ranks with the party. But which brings me real quick to the 17th Amendment.
Yes, go ahead, please.
All the things that we need to do with the Constitution, many people feel the first thing we have to do and should is have a balanced budget amendment because we have $17 trillion in debt.
Yes.
But right on the heels of that one, we need to get rid of the 17th Amendment. If we could, if the founders wanted the 2 U.S. senators selected by the state legislature, not by popular vote, if we had not changed that, if we did not have the 17th Amendment, I can guarantee you one thing, and the listeners, McCain and Flake would not be in the U.S. Senate right now.
I agree.
And people of similar stripe. It would be a far different Senate and a far different country.
I agree. That was one of the biggest stab in our republic. They try to transform in this sort of mob rules, and who has more money control the mobs. The numbers of the people. I agree with you. I'm looking here. I'm reading at your beautiful flyer, Al Melvin for governor, and there is one line that I really like: eliminate state income taxes.
Yes.
Please enlighten me. Tell me how you do that.
Trick. I want to eliminate the individual and the corporate income tax to make us more competitive vis-a-vis Texas and other states that do not have an income tax. And the way I want to do it is to continue to phase it out over the time that I'm governor, that by the 8th year, it will be completely phased out. The other thing in line with that I want to do is Texas-style tort reform, where you cap pain and suffering at $250,000 per incident. When Texas did it 6 years ago, 3 things happened. Lawyers started leaving the state, doctors started arriving, and business flourished. When we do those 2 things, plus other measures, we will bring a multitude of private sector jobs to our people. As I drive through Bullhead City, Kingman, and other parts of Arizona and the United States, it breaks your heart to see the grief that has been inflicted upon our country, frankly, by Obama and his administration. Out of control taxes, regulations. I came across an expression recently: the best social program known to man is a private sector job. He's killing them. We can bring them back.
I agree with you, and in my opinion, this is done by design, not in accident, because the guy is not stupid. It's not even just the guy doing the decision; it's just the face.
Yeah.
The distraction that they're trying to do is to do a final. When America dies, okay, to create a global government, they needed to destroy the last bastion of what used to be an experiment, not perfect, but the best experiment out there in human history when it comes down to self-government.
Yeah.
Now, the rest of the world is pretty much enslaved. That's a fact.
Yeah.
I left Europe. You're a subject. You have no Bill of Rights, and the European community decides for you every aspect of your life. Homeschool is completely illegal, and there are a lot of things that you realize that you're just a subject. Now, America must go down. To go down America, they must show that the system was wrong. First of all, we don't really have free market. We had the last 40 years, in my opinion, chronic capitalism, where the union of the government and the corporation pretty much create special corporate welfare. Okay, that's my research. So now they're trying to completely destroy what's left of this market to push the reset button, and they will have a new socialist America that it's already happening. So, unfortunately, you're right. This is we are living a very dangerous time. But I think solution is what we're trying to look here for, and it all starts in our state. I believe in state rights, and I see other bills that you were really propense. For example, one thing I like about one bill that I was really interested that you tried to bring out, and you voted for it, and also you pretty much with the Senate able to pass, but unfortunately, of course, somebody else didn't agree with you. For example, like this one, let's see. SB 1309 defines Arizona citizenship as you are a citizen of Arizona. There was a bill, unfortunately, they failed in the Senate, 11 by 19, but you voted for it, and it specified that the person is a citizen of the state of Arizona if they have been naturalized in the United States and lawfully domiciled. Thank you for the English, in the state of Arizona. I think that was a very important concept. People forget that before the Civil War, there were states completely independent. There were these United States of America. And the states, they were citizen people. They were citizens of the states where they reside.
Yeah.
You agree? So that was important philosophical bill, in my opinion, that you were trying.
Well, one of my living heroes, frankly, is Governor Rick Perry of Texas.
Okay.
And I think he's showing us what can be done at the state level. I know that we can create a safe haven, as I said, in Arizona for our people. We can keep our people safe with, I think we need to look at a state militia, like a state posse similar to Sheriff Arpaio's posse in Maricopa. There are many things we can do at the state level, but I wanted to tell the people a little bit about myself. I should have done it at the beginning.
Okay.
I am a retired Navy captain.
Yes.
I spent 30 years in the Naval Reserve. A Navy captain is the equivalent of a full colonel in the Army and Air Force.
Okay.
I was a squadron commander of the largest ship squadron in the Navy, Maritime Prepositioning Ship Squadron 2 in the middle of the Indian Ocean at Diego Garcia. I'm a graduate of the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, the U.S. Naval War College, and I got my MBA from Thunderbird in Phoenix, recognized as the best international business school in the world. So that's my background.
Perfect. Okay.
I'm bringing a lot of experience and education to this job. I believe I'm the best qualified, without a doubt.
So before you became a state senator, you were a retired Navy captain. Okay.
And I worked for 40 years for international shipping companies.
Okay.
I lived in Asia for 12 years.
Okay.
2 years in Korea, 8 in Japan.
Okay.
And 2 years in Pakistan. I met my wife in Japan. She was born and raised in Tokyo.
Do you speak Japanese?
No.
Okay.
I have no language ability.
Okay.
But fortunately, international shipping is all done in English.
Okay.
Thank the Lord for that.
Okay.
So I could do my job speaking English anywhere in the world.
Okay. Question.
Yeah.
Your biggest regret as state senator? I mean, we all make mistakes, okay? I mean, it's okay, no problem. If you would change one thing, say, I wish I knew better about, come on, give me your biggest regret.
Well, I guess what it would be, I ran a bill to that was identical to the bill in Utah signed by the governor of Utah to convert the federal lands to state lands.
Okay.
I got it through the Senate and I got it through the House, but Governor Brewer vetoed it. I guess if I had done more homework, worked with her a little bit more, perhaps her staff, she would have signed it into law and we would be much further ahead than where we are right now.
Who owns our body, us or the government?
We do.
Perfect.
It's my Christian belief that we are made in the image of God, our Creator.
Okay.
Just like our rights come from God, our Creator, they do not come from the government. We have a responsibility for our bodies and our souls and our families.
Would you agree with me that we have rights
Yeah.
until we do not infringe on other people's rights?
Yes.
Perfect. You also believe that with freedom comes responsibility. I mean,
Yes.
whatever I want to do, I should be paid the consequences, right?
That's right.
Let's say I want to be free now to drink all the water I want, then I need to pay for my water. You're supposed not to pay for my water. Great. Now we agree on that. Excellent. Now, if we believe that the government does not own our body, and we believe that with freedom come responsibilities, and we believe that our rights ends when other people's rights starts, why a young man or woman or any American should be criminalized in the state of Arizona just because found in possession with, for example, for personal use, like a plant, like, for example, marijuana in this point. I mean, why that? I mean, we can treat marijuana like alcohol. I can drink in my own home. I should not be drinking and drive, but it's okay if I drink home. Why? And I don't even drink that much, but I like to drink. Let's say somebody else maybe likes to smoke pot, okay? Why they should become a felon if they found smoking or with some sort of a plant in their homes, the house confiscated?
Well,
What do you think about that?
one thing. In this campaign, I am trying to be as specific and detailed as I can. I think that makes me different than my opponents, who I believe are trying to be as vague as they can. On this one, I have to admit I am not an expert on the subject, but I would say there are some challenges. For instance, we know if someone is drinking and driving, we have breath analyzers.
Yes.
We can figure out, have they exceeded the legal limit? I think the jury is out on that one with respect to marijuana. If someone is driving erratically down the highway as a result of marijuana, I don't know that there's any way to measure how much or what caused them to.
I am no doctor. I'm not a pro, but I tell you, there is a way. There is.
Okay.
You can become pretty much. They can check everything about you. The point is, regardless the technicality, if we can do it, if we really are responsible, and I leave the judgment to God, because in some religion, for example, if you go into the Muslim religion, if you drink wine, you go to they cut your throat, okay? So I think our personal moral beliefs should be put aside, and this is coming from somebody that does not smoke anything. But I think if we believe in freedom and self-responsibility, I think the government, the role of government should not be to criminalize a man or a woman that pays with their own money and then is responsible to be sure that the other people's rights don't get infringed. This is not like a debate. I want just to interact with you.
No.
You think about it.
I think another aspect of it is, I'm not an expert, and I, like you, tried cigarettes. I think I tried them more than you did.
Okay.
But I stopped smoking cigarettes about 18 years ago.
Okay.
But I've been told or heard that marijuana can be a so-called gateway drug to other drugs. I don't know. But whatever we do as a state, I think we have to be smart about it.
Let's say, this is, of course, it's your journey, and people will decide whatever you want to do about you.
And one point that I did hear the other day, and I think it was from Charles Krauthammer on Fox News Channel, that one of the beauties of America, and I think the founders had this in mind, that each state is an experiment. We've got 50 experiments going on right now. One of them is in Colorado that now has recreational use of marijuana.
Yes.
And as Krauthammer said, hey, America, the beauty of the design is that we're going to find out. It wasn't across the board at all 50 states.
Yes.
This state up there, we're going to find out. what
I
are
agree.
the
No,
pros and the cons?
I agree. I hope, of course, that this is still true because, unfortunately, the federal government encroachment on state rights is completely, taking over. You know that. But
Yeah.
there was just a thing. Another
Yeah.
keyword we talked before the show started: industrial hemp.
Yeah.
You told me that you don't know well enough, but you would like to learn more, and I please invite you because this is listeners know already. Industrial hemp is completely different from marijuana. It's a plant used for industrial purposes, and by the way, we imported millions of dollars from China, Canada, and it's incredible to think it's legal to import, it's illegal to grow it. So I hope, as a
well,
state legislator, look into that, please.
As I mentioned to you, I'm familiar with hemp
Okay.
in the form of large mooring lines on ships.
Okay.
We call them Manila lines.
Okay.
In those days, the hemp came from the Philippines. They called them Manila lines. They have been since replaced by either steel wire or polypropylene synthetic lines. So
Okay.
I know something about industrial hemp in the form of mooring lines, but I'm more than willing to
Please,
to look at it.
because it's very important. It's the economy, and I know you want to. You have a very great statement here. You want to remove the income tax, but
Yeah.
we need to get the money somewhere else. Otherwise,
But by eliminating the income tax and the Texas-style tort reform, people
Yes.
ask me, where is the revenue going to come from? And my answer to them is by a phase-out of the income tax and by having the tort reform, we will have increased economic activity and that the current sales tax will generate that additional revenue.
question: why can we not gamble legally in the state of Arizona, like Nevada, or we have to just go to Indians Casino to do that? I mean, why can't we do the same here?
Well, I, like most people, have a couple of vices, and one of them is not gambling.
Me too.
I thank the Lord that's...
Me too, but that's not about me and you,
No,
you
no,
know,
no,
it's,
no, I know that. But, that's something that I really haven't gotten into. And
Please think about it.
I have to hand it to you, Luca. You've posed some real twisters for me. But again, I'm a straight shooter.
Okay, me too. I appreciate
I really
that.
am, and
Yes.
I want to be specific and definite in everything I do in this campaign.
Senator, we must continue. I love you. I appreciate you being here.
My website,
Go ahead, say it.
votealmelvin.com.
Thank you very much, guys. Please go to the website, lovegunsfreedom.com, and you will see also the page with the interview of today and a link to the website of Senator Melvin. Thanks.